My name's Bob Salamis.
Yes!
No More Heroes, A New Hope.
Star Wars.
Welcome to a brand new episode of The Completionist. I hope you guys have your beam katanas ready, because I don't have one.
No More Heroes. You know, I, like many, bought my Nintendo Wii, or as I call it, the GameCube Squared, and thought to myself, hey, this motion control gimmick kind of sucks for us hardcore guys. Now don't get me wrong, I do love all of the core titles that we ended up with on the Wii, but I think it's safe to say that most of us have Brawl, Zelda, or a Mario game in our Wiis till this day.
But Batman, what does any of this have to do with No More Heroes?
No More Heroes was one of the hidden gems that few knew about. This has to be one of the games that's on my underrated list. But be forewarned, fellow gamers, this game contains a lot of swearing, violence, and nudity. So if you think you can handle it, stick around. But if not, consider this your warning. And here's some links while Greg entertains you. Greg?
Are you not entertained yet?
Suda51 is a game developer from Japan who before No More Heroes developed an awesome game known as Killer 7. Suda his whole life had been influenced heavily by American culture. He wanted to not only create a game based off of some of his favorite American influences, but he also wanted to create a game that was more bloody, more gory, and more disturbing than Manhunt 2. So out he came with No More Heroes, or just Heroes.
Or as we like to call it, Japanese Wet Dream.
In the city of Santa Destroy, California, Travis Touchdown, a typical otaku and our protagonist, is getting wasted in a bar, drinking his brains out because he apparently lost it all. He is then approached to by a hot French woman named Sylvia, who flirts with him. Travis, wanting to sleep with said hot French woman, makes his move, only to find out that she's willing to sleep with him, on one condition. Travis must become the world's #1 ranked assassin. There is an organization called the United Assassins Association, which is a governing body of assassins. These assassins prove to be the world's best, and Sylvia claims that she will sleep with Travis if he becomes the best. Without hesitation, Travis returns to the No More Heroes motel to pick up his beam katana, which is basically a lightsaber, and then he heads out for number 11.
Guy meets chick in a bar, has to do a bunch of weird things to get her. Gerard, did you not learn your lesson playing Catherine? Are you playing Catherine again?
Shortly after killing number 11, Travis realizes he is now a marked man and there's no way out of this situation. He will continue to be hunted now that he's among the ranks. It's now his ultimate goal to kill the other 10 remaining assassins that stand in his way so he can be the best.
You're the best around. Nothing's ever gonna take you down.
The plot of No More Heroes is what pulled me in. Granted, a lot of these elements are based on some actual things and people. For instance, Travis Touchdown's based on Johnny Knoxville, Sylvia is based on Scarlett Johansson, the city of Santa Destroy is based on San Diego, and the game's overall vibe stems from a lot of films such as Star Wars, Sin City, some older westerns, Back to the Future, so on and so forth. But what really makes this game work for me is this. You're not only mindlessly and graphically slicing people in half to become the best assassin in the world, you're doing it with a beam katana. Now this is the Star Wars game we were looking for. So we've got this game on the Wii, and for what it's worth, it's pretty damn impressive. While it doesn't really push any boundaries, the artistic approach of this game does add a nice selling point. The colors are incredibly contrasting to one another, the game feels like a comic book done in 3D, and the character models of the main characters look really well detailed and designed. The writing in this game is so damn sophisticated. The game is incredibly story driven, but the humor is right there with it, and it even pokes fun at traditional plot points in games, making these characters understand that they are actually in a video game. And the actors that add their voices to these characters are so well casted. You can tell they put a lot of thought of who is going to play who. The game's soundtrack isn't too revolutionary, but the main theme of when you're on an actual mission is quite addicting. It never got old. I find myself humming and whistling to it while I was engaged in a bloody brawl with several enemies at once. I don't know what it was about this game, but this one thing is for certain. You feel incredibly powerful and badass when you suddenly make a room of 30 guys turn into nothing but blood and coins. What I love too in this game is the color red. If I had to describe this game, I would simply say it's red, and here's why. No matter who you are fighting, whatever the cutscene, to the outfits you are wearing, red is always the most powerful and present in this game. And that adds so much depth into what really this game is. A bloodbath of awesome badassery.
You sure are talking about the color red a lot. If I didn't know any better, I'd think that you were a commie.
Greg, I'm not a commie. How could you...
You're a commie, son!
Dude, you act like you don't know who I am.
You're a dirty commie!
You know, now that I think about it...
You're a commie!
No more Jamba Juice. One of the game's arguably strongest and or weakest points is the gameplay. The gameplay is divided into two different sections. The first and most important area, in my opinion, is the assassination missions. When you engage an enemy, you can lock onto him with Z target, just like Zelda 64. Once locked on, you can then approach your enemy and attack the hell out of him with your beam katana. Once your enemy runs out of life, you'll see a pixelated arrow appear. You can now swing the Wiimote in the direction of said arrow, and you will literally slice your enemy in half, followed by blood and coins. If you keep swinging your Wiimote in the direction that you were told to swing, you will have a good chance of adding a more powerful finishing blow, sometimes destroying all of the surrounding enemies. You'll notice that when you land a death blow, a slot machine appears with many different symbols. This slot is referred to as Dark Side mode. If you land into one of the modes, you will then have one of many different iterations of instant death blow KOs, changing the tides very quickly while fighting a heavy horde.
Remember, kids, the more you murder, the more you get to gamble. If you can't find a light sword, your father's rifle will do.
Holding the Wiimote in the air will have you attack in a high stance, while holding the Wiimote lower will put you in a low stance. Switching between the two will help you chain your combos and deal more damage. Sometimes you will engage an enemy that has a sword or a beam katana or an axe that doesn't necessarily want to die as easily. You can then clash your sword with the enemies, and then when it's a matter of winning said clash, you can swing your remote as fast as you can to win. And if you win, you get to execute them automatically, ignoring their health meter. But let's say you don't clash with them. If you use the B button, you can now do a heavy attack which will stun the enemy, and when they're stunned, you can then grab them and perform an awesome wrestling move. From Hurricane Ranas to suplexes to DDTs to even power bombs, Travis is a bona fide badass of wrestling. That big heart in the corner is your life meter, and on the right you have your battery. Now when you clash with your beam katana, you will drain your battery, and the only way to get it back to normal is to shake the Wiimote as fast and as hard as you can. Yes, Greg, it does look like he is jerking off.
It looks like he's... Aw, damn, you beat me to it.
A lot of people complain that the combat gets tiring after a while, or that it doesn't get any more challenging. Well, for me, I never got tired of it because I always felt that I was that much more awesome when I survived an onslaught. It was always my responsibility to slice my enemies in half. One of the greatest things about No More Heroes is watching someone play it. It's just too damn fun. But what's even better is watching someone else play it because they look ridiculous, and the game is ridiculous, so all in all, it kind of blends well. I mean, look, I look weird playing it. Look at that beard shake. Look at it. Look at it! Now, the second type of gameplay is an open-world feel via Grand Theft Auto. You can drive your modified motorcycle to different locations around town. Driving this bike is really fun as you can plow people over, run over trees and lampposts, and pop wheelies. It makes you feel so badass and powerful. Did I mention that enough? There's the gym where you can buff Travis up, increasing his combos and life bar and his strength output. You can also go to Naomi's lab where you can upgrade your beam katana. You can go to the video store where you can purchase wrestling tapes to get more variations of wrestling moves. You can go to the clothing store and change how Travis appears. You can go to a bar where this Russian kind of Loki of a guy or whatever is sitting there doing nothing, and he claims that if you bring him balls, he can teach you special moves. Yeah, I know. And of course, you've got your jobs. Now, in order to progress in the story, you must give money to the UAA in order to participate in ranked assassination missions. So, in order to earn cash, you have to do one of two things. The first thing you can do is perform several odd jobs, which are kind of fun. However, these little minigame missions tend to get boring the second and third time around. Second thing you can do is the mini assassination missions. Now, these ones aren't that important. You can fail them or repeat them over and over again to generate large sums of cash. However, the biggest problem with No More Heroes is just this. It's a rinse, wash, repeat methodology in order to progress. Win a ranked fight, go do an odd job, go to assassination mission, go buy upgrades, work out at the gym, go do more assassination missions, do it again, one more time, do it again, pay the UAA, win a ranked fight. all mixed in with random collectible wrestler masks and other random items that don't really lead to a bonus incentive. But what really holds this game together through all these painfully slow parts is the story itself. You want to see what will happen to Travis, what kind of fight you will encounter, and what lies in his struggle to success. Speaking of ranked fights, that's where the meat of this game really lies. Out of the many ranked fights you will encounter, none of them feel repetitive. All of them feel very difficult and yet challenging and unique. They require you to think on your feet as you learn the tactics, all which leads to a rewarding success of watching that cutscene. Alright, so you pumped some iron, you got a cool outfit that you like, you learned all the special moves from that Loki guy, you've built the absolute best beam katana, and you've killed all of the ranked assassins up to number 2. Only one more left. All I gotta do now is pay my last due, and finally it's time to go meet up with Sylvia. Sylvia? She's not calling.
You got played, son!
Sylvia is actually a con artist. There is no UAA, no ranking system, none of it was true. Apparently, she does this to people in order to pay all of her expenses. It's time to really see who is the first ranked assassin after all this time. As you finally reach the ultimate endpoint of this game, you fight an old man who claims that he's your father. Well, actually, that can't be true because the thing that Travis was talking about, how he lost it all, that's his parents, and they were murdered. In any case, that old guy gets murdered right then on the spot by a hot chick, and then Travis recognizes who she is.
Flashback!
When Travis was at the bar, yes, he did say he lost everything. He was referring to the fact his parents were murdered, but what he repressed was this image of a woman, and this woman that he repressed was this girl in front of him. Now, Travis asked for her to explain who she is, but she claims it will bore the player and take too many games to play it, so they talk really fast. Well, it's fast forward and blah blah blah. Travis and her are half brother and sister. Travis' dad touched her a lot when she was younger, forced her into prostitution, and she came back for revenge and killed them.
Fight!
While there is no completion bonus, there is a secret ending that's relatively easy to obtain, but a long road goes into it. In order to get the secret ending in the final boss fight, you have to upgrade the final beam katana to its fullest potential, which will actually take 1.5 million LBs total. The easiest way to do this is to complete the Assassin Gig 18 over and over and over again.
No More Heroes is a fantastic hidden gem on the Wii. It has a great story, fantastic gameplay mechanics, and a great presentation. However, it does suffer at times from lack of good filler content. They did create a PlayStation 3 port for this game called No More Heroes Paradise, and Suda51 did create a sequel to this game called No More Heroes Desperate Struggle. With that in mind, this game gets my completionist rating of Finish It.
Katana it!
That's all the time I have for today, guys, so please, as always, leave a positive or negative comment in the boxes below. Don't forget to leave your game suggestions for the future of the show. The artwork contest is coming to an end, so this is the last video before I will unveil the winner next week. And of course, you guys know you can find me on Facebook and Twitter, but now you can actually see Greg Wilmot on Twitter. His handle is @McSquaresville. Now if you excuse me, I murdered everyone!
Try to be best, cause you're only a clown, and a clown's gotta learn to take it. Try to believe that the lasers get rough, that you gotta zap tough to make it. History repeats itself, try to make 'em bleed. Never doubt that you're the clown, and you can fight police. You're the best clown, cutting all the evil people down. You're the best clown, shouldn't people love to shoot them down. You're the best clown, don't you know that he's the lazy clown? We can't fend off lasers of that magnitude.